15 there, 40 size you want to do.
Wonderful. There you go.
For 5.
You should know that the unpaved roads of the Harappan Wildlife Reserve pass through
Asante Sana Warden, and as we like to say here in Harambe, Tuwende, which does mean let's go. Now Jumbo everyone, my name is Delaney. I'll be your safari guide out here on the reserve today. While we are out on the reserve, I do ask that you remain seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck the entire time. Now also please make sure to keep a tight hold on any cameras, cell phones, and any other personal items, because if anything were to fall over the side of my truck, I unfortunately will not be able to stop for it. If you do drop anything, please just let me know. We'll try to get a warden out here to retrieve that item for you. Now if you have any kids, they can sit on your lap, that is perfectly fine, but please make sure we are not raising them up in the air, as you are not Rafiki, they are not Simba, this is not the Lion King, so you do need to be staying seated the entire time and not moving throughout the rows. Where they're at right now is where they're going to stay the entire time we are out there. I also do ask that we don't yell at any of these animals today, as we want them to feel as comfortable as possible in their home since we are just visiting them. So no yelling, screaming, whistling, or clapping at them. Let's just be courteous to the animals out here as well as everybody else on the truck. Now above your head is that animal spotting guide. That's a little indicator of the animals we could see out here today. Now I can't guarantee we'll see every single animal, but hopefully we do see a good amount of them. Now this first animal we're going to see, oh, he got scared. Oh. He's kind of in the back. I'll move up forward. Oh, he's gone now. Well, it was the yellow-backed diker, so I think he's on that spotting guide. If you saw him, he just got really scared. He's going to be kind of in the back. They're really skittish, and they get really scared super easily, but they are extremely rare for us to see. So the fact that we kind of just got to see him run a little bit was pretty cool. Now, yellow-backed diker in Afrikaans says diker does mean diver. So when he gets usually scared, he will actually make a loud screeching noise and then dive right into the bushes. And the little yellow back patch on him will actually stand up just a little bit. But at least you guys got to see him just a little bit. But we do have the okapi back here as well. Now, the okapi is going to be the closest living relative to a giraffe, though it looks like it's related to the zebra because of their striped pants. But they do have the same facial structure as well as the same long prehensile tongue as those giraffes. Now that the natives knew about the okapi, Westerners really did not discover them until about 1901, so they were considered to be very mythical creatures. We now know them today to be very shy and reclusive, so it does make sense why it took us so long to be able to see them. Now over here on the right-hand side, we will be able to see some greater kudu kind of on the hill. Now greater kudu are the larger of the antelope species, getting about 55 inches tall just at those shoulders. Now we also do have some rhinos hanging out over here. We're going to get up to this one that's a little bit closer. But these are black rhinos. Now black rhinos are about 3,000 pounds. You can charge about 35 miles an hour. Now rhinos in general have no natural predators. Their main predator is going to be humans. And unfortunately there is only about 5,000 of them left in the world as they are suffering due to poaching. Now they keep getting poached for those beautiful horns which are made of keratin. And keratin is the same thing our hair and nails are made out of. So it's very unfortunate they're being poached for something we grow back so easily. Now hanging out over here on the right, these copper colored animals, these are bongos. Now bongos are considered to be the ghost of the forest because they are very rarely ever seen and they do blend into a lot of their surroundings out here. Now they will lay their head back so they can push through all the dense underbrush here in the forest and they can move through it pretty quickly without getting tangled up in it. Now we are going to slowly be making our way into the Safi River. Now the Safi River is going to be home to a lot more of the aquatic animals out here on the reserve. So it's going to be a little bit harder for us to see these animals as they do spend the majority of their time hanging out in that water. So we're going to try our best to be able to get some views. Now coming up on this right hand side, we will be able to see some pink-backed pelicans. Now, pink-backed pelicans get their name from the pink coloration they get on their backs during their mating season. They're also going to be colonial nesters with about 20 to 500 pairs on a nest at one time. Now, if you can't see them on the right, there are some hippos over in the back corner. But if you can't see them, don't worry. We're going to see some hippos in just 1 second when we can move all the way forward, as they're going to be on the left-hand side and a lot easier to see. Now, hippos, they spend a majority of their time in the water, only coming up onto the bank at night to be able to eat the vegetation that does surround it. Hippos, they are herbivores, though it might not seem like it because of the large teeth that they are known to have. But those teeth are going to be used for defense only, so they only show them if they feel extremely threatened. Now, on the left-hand side, we'll see just a lot better than the ones in the corner. Now, unlike most animals, hippos do not swim along the river, they will just run along the bottom. Now, they weigh so much, they sink all the way down to the bottom, and then they're able to bounce the way back up to be able to get that fresh breath of air that they need, as they do only hold their breath underwater for about 8 minutes at a time, so they do have to come up periodically to be able to get that air. Now, they do have are able to sleep under the water. They do have a reflex that helps them float up to the top of the water, be able to get that air, then naturally float back down. It is going to be the same way we turn over in our sleep without actually having to wake up. Now, coming up over here on this left-hand side, we will be able to see some Nile crocodiles. Now, Nile crocodiles, make sure we are staying fully seated for me, friends. Make sure we are staying fully seated. Now, Nile crocodiles are the larger of the crocodilian species, getting about 16 feet in length, weighing about 500 pounds. Now, they can eat about half of their body weight in just one sitting, and because of this, they really only need to eat about once a week to be able to survive. Diet does mainly contain of fish. If something was unfortunate enough to cross their path, they will actually go for it, and that is usually when they go that week without having to eat. So it's not something super consistent for them. It's just when they've had a bigger meal that they're not fully used to. Now, every once in a while, you will be able to see them kind of laying there with their mouths open. That's actually to help push the heat out of their body so they can cool down just a little bit. After a while, that will stop working, so they will have to get into that water to be able to help cool down just a little bit faster. Now, the trees are opening up quite a bit, so that does mean we are getting a little bit closer to the savannah. Now, before we fully head out into the savannah, we will be able to see this tree out here, and this is going to be the baobab tree. Now, the baobab tree has two different nicknames. It's going to be nicknamed the Tree of Life because it can hold about 10,000 gallons of water at a time. It can actually hold up to about 32,000 gallons of water at a time. Now, because it does hold so much water, it does actually remain leafless for 9 months out of the year, which is why we also call it the upside down tree, because it kind of looks like its roots are facing up. Now, that tree does get its leaves back. This is going to be during the rainier seasons out on the savannah that it does get those leaves. Now, the savannah is going to be the largest part of our reserve and where we're going to see a lot of the animals we all know and love. Now, they also love to use the savannah as a bit of a highway system, so they do end up crossing back and forth quite a bit throughout the entire day. So we will see them pretty spread out as we do make our way down through here. Now, once we get closer to the animals, that's when we'll be able to talk about them. I know we'll see the giraffes kind of on and off as we continue our way through here. We'll be able to talk about them a little bit sporadically as we continue down. Now, on the right-hand side over here, we'll be able to see some wildebeest first. Now, the wildebeest do get their herds of about 1.5 million and will travel about 500 to 1,000 miles in 1 year. Now, it is said because of how many of them are traveling at one time, you can see a group of wildebeest migrating from space just in the amount of dust they can kick up. Now, within 15 minutes of them being born, they will be up and moving around. They do have to continuously move with the rest of the herd.
Look at the one in the middle of the tree.
As they do have to continuously move throughout the day. Now, there were some animals hanging out on this left-hand side in these trees, but it looks like they're just a little bit too far in there. kind of right before that big tree. But we do also see the giraffe out here, and those are the Messiah giraffe. And they have a little bit more of a messier rugged leaf pattern to them than what we are used to seeing. As we are used to seeing the reticulated giraffe, they do have a net-like pattern to them.
There's quite a few of them. There's some down there too.
The other ones are.
Now on this left-hand side over here, we are going to see the African painted dogs. And again, if you see yourself, a couple of them are standing up over here, and you'll be able to see them. Now the African painted dogs get their name from the paint splatter markings looks like they have on them. Now their markings, make sure we are staying seated for me. Now the African painted dogs get their name from the paint splatter markings looks like they have on them. Now their markings are very unique to them, to our just like our fingerprints. Now these animals are super cute and cuddly looking. They are one of the most successful hunters out on the savannah, having about an 80% success rate, while lions really only have a 20%. You can kind of see them a little bit better on that diagonal, at least those two.
They're cute.
Now over here on this left-hand side, we do have some of the Hartman's mountain zebra. Now the Hartman's mountain zebra have a flap of skin under their throat that really helps them regulate their body temperature. Now that flap of skin is called a dewlap, and they're going to be the only species of zebra with that flap of skin, but they're not the only animal species with it. Now they also do have smaller hooves to be able to help them climb up that mountain ranges a little bit easier, as they do live in those mountain sides.
They're skinny girls.
Now you also notice there was not really a lot of them out here, as they actually do surround smaller herds. There's going to be 1 male and then 2 to 5 females. Whenever they see other groups of zebras, that's usually when they join up and create the larger herds from what we're used to seeing. And there can actually be about 10,000 zebras in just one herd. But we will start to get some better views of these giraffes. Now these giraffes are about 18 feet tall, and their babies are born at about 6 feet. And they have a 6-foot drop from their moms when they are born to help kickstart their lungs a little bit to help them start breathing. Within the first hour of them being born, they will be up and moving around. So the drop really does not affect these animals in too many ways.
Which I would love to.
Now giraffes do spend a majority of their day eating. They only sleep for about 30 minutes a day. Now it's not going to be a consecutive 30 minutes. It's actually about 1 to 2 minute power naps throughout the entire day that just equal 30 minutes. And during these naps, they will be standing completely still. Now they have such long legs, it makes it very vulnerable to predators if they do lay down. So they prefer to stay standing, and if we ever do see a giraffe laying down, that just means they feel extremely comfortable in their environments. Now we're going to go up because there's one just going to move a little bit of a better spot over here that we'll be able to see. Now giraffes are known for that long prehensile tongue that they have. Now prehensile does mean finger-like, so they are able to grip the leaves on the trees and be able to bring it down to their mouths. Now those tongues are about 18 inches long, so it does help them get up to the top of the trees just a little bit better. But their tongues are also going to be a purple-blue color to be able to help protect from the sun, so they don't get a sunburn on their tongue. Now we will be able to see these giraffes hanging out next to these springbok out here, so we'll kind of be able to hang out over here for a second. Now springboks are the smaller of the antelope species, and they can jump about 6 to 8 feet in the air just from standing up, and jump about 13 feet forward. And they can also run at about 50 to 60 miles per hour, making them one of the top 10 fastest animals in the world. Now they are a very beloved animal over in Africa. You actually see them represented around the world on different sports teams, specifically over for South Africa. They use them as their mascots because of their ability to jump as well as for their speed. So you will see them just kind of around the world. Now we are heading into some elephant country. So on the right, you will be able to spot an African elephant. But also on the left, keep an eye out because you might be able to spot some mandrills. Now mandrills are the larger of the monkey species, having a beautiful blue and red facial coloring to them, just like Rafiki from The Lion King. We'll be able to get a fantastic view of this elephant. But on this left-hand side, we might not. Oh, look, the mandrills are out just on top of that rock. So we'll kind of be able to see them on both sides in just 1 second. Now we can tell this is an African elephant from the shape of the ears, as they kind of look like the continent of Africa. Now every flap of the ear will actually lower their body temperature about 10 to 15 degrees. So it's like they have a personal fan on them at all times. Now elephants, they do live in a matriarchal society, so that does mean that the oldest female elephant is going to be the leader of the herd. Once the males reach a certain age, they do separate themselves off from the main herd, and they'll either go off on their own, or they will join up with the other males to what we would call a bachelor herd. Now we can tell he is a male just because he is out here alone, but sometimes he needs time away from the rest of the bachelor herd, just like we need time away from our family and friends, so he does get the space out here and he truly enjoys it. As we continue forward, keep an eye out on either side as you might be able to see some tusk marks. Now the elephants like to take their tusks into this rug clay to be able to get to the minerals it holds inside. Now these minerals are very good for the elephants. It's just like the vitamins we take every single day. And it does look good on this right hand side, we'll be able to see those tusk marks. Now whenever we see elephants, they're almost always going to be eating, and that's because elephants do love to eat. Now, because they like to eat so much, they really don't care where they go. As long as they're getting food, they're going to be pretty happy. Now, this has caused a lot of problems over in Africa because a lot of elephants have gone onto farmland and destroyed crops, so the farmers are not too happy with them. Now, during some research, it was found out that elephants are afraid of bees. They don't really like the noises that they make. So it was suggested to the farmers to put a beehive fence surrounding the farmland to see if it scared the elephants away. And it actually worked. About 80% of the elephants that did come up to that farmland would run away because they were so scared. And that made those farmers pretty happy because they're finally able to use their crops, but also able to sell the honey the bees produce for a little bit more extra income. Now the elephant we saw first is going to be a lot bigger than these two out here because that first elephant is the oldest elephant we have out here on the reserve at about 40 years old. Now elephants do continue growing until they're about 30 to 40 years old, so these two have a little bit longer to go before they get the full grown size. Now they also do have a life expectancy of about 70 years, so they do end up growing for about half of their life. Now they are able to use their tusks to be able to dig them into those baobab trees to be able to get to the water it holds inside. So if there's ever a drought on the savannah, they get to dig their tusks into those trees, get to the water, be able to help out a bunch of the different animals we got to see out here today. Now on this left-hand side, we do have some flamingos. Now these are the greater flamingos. Now greater flamingos are the larger of the flamingo species, but they're also a lighter pink. Now flamingos, they are born gray, and they get the pink coloration from the beta-carotene and the chrome they do eat. Now a year after they're born, this is when they start to lose their gray feathers a little bit, and they'll be gray and white. And a little bit after that, they start getting some pink feathers to them, so they can start losing their gray feathers altogether. Now, it does look like we have seen some rhino activity happening on this left-hand side, but they are going to be on the other side of the trees as there's a lot more grass for them to graze on over there. They usually like to hang out there. Now, they do love to roll around in this mud pit, though, when it gets a little bit warmer, as it does create a natural sunblock as well as a natural bug repellent for them. It's also another way to help keep them really cool on the hot savanna days out there. So, now you'll notice whenever we see these rhinos, they're going to be more in a group than those black rhinos were, as black rhinos are actually going to be very solitary animals and prefer to live alone, while white rhinos are actually very social and they do prefer to live in those bigger groups. Now the only group of black rhinos you actually see together are going to be the females and the babies. Now over here on this left hand side, we're going to look out for some cheetahs, but they do like to stay pretty hidden. So we might not fully be able to see them. You might see a kind of one out in the distance right over there. Now cheetahs, they are the fastest land mammal. They do get to speeds of about 60 miles per hour in about 3 seconds. Now they only hold that speed for about 30 seconds at a time, because animals are built for speed and not for strength, so they really can't hold it forever. Now cheetahs, they cannot roar, but they can make some chirping noises, kind of like a bird chirp. And that's going to be one of the very few big cats they can purr. Now, it's definitely very interesting to hear, but I don't recommend getting super up close and personal with one to be able to hear them, as they are still big cats, not the cats that we have at home. So it is better just to be safe when coming around those animals. But up ahead here is our Kobe Rock Formation. Sometimes we do see some big cats out there. So you can look out across the savannah and be able to check out what's going on. Make sure everything's running pretty smoothly out here. Now we'll be able to see those lions hanging out right over here. Now lions do sleep about 18 to 20 hours a day, usually being more active at night. Now during the day, their eyesight is just like ours, but night's about 6 times stronger, so that's when they do a majority of their hunting. Now the females will do majority of the hunting for the pride, while that male will stay back to protect any cubs. But there's no cubs to protect, so I should go out and join the hunt with the rest of those females. Now we do have those lions right over there, but we also have the rhinos joining them over here on the right hand side. They'll be able to get a look at. Now there is a couple babies over there on that right hand side. We are going to go around to see if we get another view of them as we continue looking at those lions. Now sometimes we do get the amazing opportunity to hear these lions roar, but it's not something that happens very often, as they usually only roar in the mornings, in the evenings, and after they have successfully completed a hunt. Now all 3 of them decide they want to roar at the exact same time. We can sometimes hear them from up to 5 miles away, but that is very rare as they choose to not roar at the same time. Now, lions can actually roar up to about 6 miles away, but the farthest ever heard from one is about 5.6 miles, which is only one of 9 recordings, so again, it's not something that happens very often. But we are going to have a rhino really close to us over here on this left-hand side, but I just want everyone to make sure we're being quiet as we don't want to spook this rhino, as they do have very sensitive hearing. You'll still be able to see those 2 babies right out there on that left-hand side. Kind of messing around just a little bit right now. Now these are the southern white rhinos. They're going to be about 5,000 pounds. There's about 18,000 of them left in the world. Again, suffering due to poaching. But you'll also be able to see there's some ostriches hanging out over here. And ostriches are the largest flightless birds. And they do get speeds of about 40 miles per hour. Now there is actually going to be another type of white rhino. You've probably never really heard of them, and if you have heard of them, it's probably for a very sad reason, and those are the northern white rhinos. Now unfortunately they are considered to be extinct because there's only 2 left remaining in the world, and they are both older females. Now they are under a 24-hour surveillance watch on a reserve over in Kenya, so it can help protect those animals as well as continuously learn about them. While the San Diego Zoo is still learning about a surrogacy program that can actually help rebuild their population, but there's still no guarantee that it could work. So we really want to do a lot to protect our southern white rhinos, so we can continue to learn about them as well as continue to see them. And we've been extremely lucky here. We've actually had 3 babies born in just the last 2 years. Now I know we did get to see a bunch of different animals out here today, and you might be asking yourself, well, what can I do to help protect these animals? Well, the main thing you can do to help protect these animals is just by researching them. By researching these animals and how they live, you can help find small ways to be able to protect them, and even the smallest action goes a long way in protecting these animals. Now you can also recycle any of your old household items as well as any old electronics. By recycling any of these items, you can help and reduce habitat loss and be able to protect a lot of the animals we saw today. As a lot of these animals, plus different animals worldwide are facing habitat loss and habitat destruction. So we want to do everything we possibly can to be able to help protect these animals. And their homes, the next generations after us, can learn about these animals as well as see them. Now I know we did get to see a bunch of, now we are coming up to our unload area, so please make sure you're getting all of your personal items together, just so it's just a little bit easier for you to unload. It'll be a very long trek, but get here to Africa to be able to grab those items, and we really don't wish that for you. Just double check your rows, double check your pockets, make sure nothing fell out, as it does get pretty bumpy out here. Now there is also another species of zebra out there. It's the Grevy zebra. So if you want to get another look at one of them and learn a little bit more about some different zebras, you can head on over there to be able to talk to our trails team, just learn a lot more about the animals you'll see over there. Now those trails are about 15 to 20 minutes long, and they can spend as much time there as you would like, or as little time. It's really just up to you. But there is also going to be a trail over in Asia called the Maharaja Jungle Trek, where you'll be able to see some of those Asian animals like Komodo dragons, some fruit bats, as well as some tigers. But once again, my name is Delaney. I am from Illinois, and here at Harambe, we do not like to say goodbye. It is far too sad and far too final. We like to say a simple phrase, which is Kwaherini, which does mean to go well. Now, if you are sitting on that right-hand side, please make sure to keep your hands, arms, feet, legs on the truck. Those will be sliding open. Kwaherini, everyone. Go well, go wild, enjoy the rest of your day. Here's an animal. We've had any orders, supporters on board.